If home is where the heart is, mine is at Winston-Salem State University. As a first-generation college student, I was determined to get an education through the HBCU experience. In 2006, serving as senior class king during homecoming, historically one of the biggest moments each fall in Black culture. But my time and energy was mostly spent here inside Hall Patterson, honing my skills as a reporter and anchor for RAM News. Hello, I'm Tim Pulliam. This is how it started. 15 years later, this is how it's going. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Tim Pulliam. Todd Davis, a veteran journalist, was my professor and advisor. Today was our first time seeing each other in more than a decade. It was emotional.
I'm sorry, man.
It's okay. This is special. This is special.
It is special to me, too.
You took me under your wing. And you gave me an opportunity.
Well.
And because of you, I have the foundation of what it means to work in news, television news.
Well, thank you. That's high praise. I can open the door, but students have to walk through it. And I think that's something unique about the HBCU experience. We focus on student success, and we want students to try new things.
That's what WSSU's founder, Dr. Simon Green Atkins, desired for the formerly enslaved. On September 28, 1892, Slater Industrial Academy was born in a room with one teacher and 25 students.
He was very, very futuristic in that he didn't look at the state where it is, but what he could envision for our people.
They asked him the question, what will you teach at that institution? And he answered that question with a question that drives me every day. And he said, what do they teach at Harvard? And what do they teach at the world's great universities? And that's what I will teach here at this university.
In 1925, the school was renamed Winston-Salem Teachers College, becoming the first Black institution in the nation to award degrees in elementary education. It became Winston-Salem State College and later Winston-Salem State University. Today, the 117-acre campus is a $500 million economic engine to the Triad, boasting a top-ranked nursing department and more than 40 bachelor degree programs, 9 master's degree programs, and 2 doctoral programs. College Magazine naming it among the top 10 HBCUs changing the world.
When I came to WSSU, I was still in the process of figuring out who Diamond was. I didn't really know who I was or who I wanted to be.
I think it's changed my life for the better. Like, I'm more immersed in my own culture, but I'm also at the same time learning a different culture too. And I get to teach a little bit of my culture as well as they teach me theirs.
Because I'm around so many minorities and people that care about you, it changed me and changed my way of thinking.
I can relate. It gave me a tangible glimpse into my future, also connecting me with classmates who credit WSSU for helping them soar in their careers. Chico Bean is a national comedian, entertainer, and this year's host of the BET Hip Hop Awards.
At Olympic host sites such as Atlanta, Georgia.
Me and Tim used to, you was the head anchor, I was the sports guy on Ram News together.
Coming up on Ram News.
What does the HBCU experience mean to you personally?
Like, I thought I was a man before I came to Winston-Salem State, but I became a man there.
And ABC 11 alum and 4-time Emmy Award-winning journalist Nicole Carr.
I didn't choose Winston-Salem State. Winston-Salem State chose me. And I knew it from the moment I walked on campus. There's a feeling there. And you know where you're supposed to be.
By upholding our motto, enter to learn, depart to serve, WSSU serving Black excellence since 1892. On the campus of my HBCU, Tim Pulliam, ABC 11 Eyewitness News. Dewan, the 2 suspects accused of killing those babies are out of jail tonight, awaiting their first court appearance tomorrow morning. We spoke to a neighbor who lives next door to the crime scene. She is upset.
These are babies. These are kids. If she didn't want her kids, give them away. Give them to somebody. Somebody would have took them. You got people who can't have kids. Give them. Give them. Why kill him.
The pain pouring out of Sharon Harris is stunning. She lives next door to where Rocky Mount police found a 14-month-old girl and her 3-month-old brother unresponsive, parked in a car by this memorial for them on Drew Street. Their mother, Zaharia Noel, and her boyfriend, Amane Butler, arrested and charged Saturday, then released on bond.
My thing is, why they let these people out like this?
When you heard that, what was your reaction?
Bull. To be honest, bull.
Right now, it's not clear how long the children were in the car or who called 911 Saturday morning. Harris says her family woke up that day to find their neighborhood full of first responders. Did they live in the house or did they live in the car?
In the car. They never stayed in that house. I had seen a little 1-year-old before. And then one day I heard a cry and I kept saying, Lord, it's a baby in this car. I don't know if they were homeless or what was going on with that situation.
Why didn't you ask?
When I asked her name, she told me her name was Brittany. What y'all want me to do? I mean, what can I do?
On Monday, the 21-year-old suspects will stand before a judge on charges of involuntary manslaughter because of negligence and child abuse. Investigators found injuries on their little bodies.
We're going to be aware of what's going on now because you don't know what people are going through. You got to question people. You got to ask people things. Right now, this hurting me. This is really hurting me because these were babies.
DeJuan, the suspects could face more charges pending the outcome of the autopsy report. The neighbor that just poured out her heart that you just heard from, she is planning a community vigil at the crime scene on Drew Street this Saturday at 6 p.m. We're live in Rocky Mount. Tim Pulliam, ABC 11 Eyewitness News. That's right, Lauren and Joel. The community is disturbed by the deaths of this 14-month-old girl and 3-month-old baby boy. And this growing memorial is a symbol of their sadness. As you mentioned at the top, the suspects remain out on bond. People want to know why this happened. Zaharia Noel and Amane Butler making their first court appearance Monday morning. Noel and her boyfriend walking hand in hand with their heads hung down, accused of abusing and killing her own babies.
If she didn't want them, she could have brought them to us. We would have took care of them. We is a tight-knit family.
Gloria Pullen watching the court proceedings. She's the paternal grandmother to 14-month-old Mariah. On Saturday, Rocky Mount police found the children unresponsive in a parked vehicle here on Drew Street. They were confirmed dead at the hospital where Gloria was working at the time. She'd find out later through social media that one of the victims was her own granddaughter. She had just seen the little girl 2 weeks ago.
I lost it. My son lost it. You know, he was so upset. It took me all night to try to calm him down. She kept the little girl away from him because he didn't want to be with her.
Arrest warrants say the couple seriously injured the children. Court docs say their skin was burned with bruises scattering their small bodies. Today, during the mayor's State of the City address, Sandy Robinson made this unscripted remark about the tragedy.
I think it would be appropriate to remember the loss of 2 of our children here in the city.
Neighbors near the crime scene claim the children and her mother were homeless, living on Drew Street. But arrest warrants list addresses for the suspects. A woman at this home listed for Noel told us she had no comment. At this house, the person behind the door said Butler was not home. Tonight, the suspects remain out on bond as many questions surround what led up to this tragedy. Right now, police releasing few details. Neighbors telling me Sunday they are in pain.
These are babies. These are kids. You got people who can't have kids. Give them. Give them. Why kill them?
Back out here live, you're looking at this memorial. Rocky Mount police say that these suspects could face more charges depending on the outcome of the autopsy report for this 14-month-old and 3-month-old baby boy, who, by the way, his name is Cameron. Neighbors holding a vigil here Saturday at 6. We're live in Rocky Mount. Tim Pulliam, ABC 11 Eyewitness News. The September 11th terrorist attacks remain the most deadliest response by emergency personnel in U.S. history. 323 firefighters lost their lives. Some of the survivors live here in the Triangle, and they still wrestle with the heartbreaking images and memories 20 years later.
After the second plane hit, we realized we're under attack. And responding from wherever we responded from is not knowing where the attack's over and not knowing what we're going to face when we did arrive on scene was a daunting task.
One of my memories that I can still see or feel was when the second tower fell, the earth in New Jersey shook. It was like an earthquake. And I don't think I'll ever forget that.
If you worked in the D.C. area, which I did, you knew someone that worked at the Pentagon. Everyone did. And the Pentagon's huge. And so there was just no processing time. But I think for most of us, and I'm glad, as a firefighter, we're used to that. We allow ourselves to mission first and put the rest to the side. It's the afterwards that's troubling, I think, for most of us.
20 years later, 9/11 first responders are still coping with the emotional and physical impacts that horrible day. Durham Fire Chief Bob Zoldis was squad leader for Squad 4 Virginia Task Force 1.
We came over the hill, and on the right was the Pentagon, and I remember the bus going dead silent. And that was just amazing.
This is a photo of Zoldis at the scene of the wreckage. His group, the first rescue team on scene after American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon, killing all 64 people on board. 125 people working inside the building also died. Wake Forest Fire Chief Bud Connolly responded to Ground Zero as a volunteer firefighter for Comac Fire in New York.
There was always that fear that this could be it.
Vince Kersey is a lieutenant with Wake Forest. He was called in, stationed with Jersey City Fire Department.
On that day, I guess I was so busy, or we were so busy in Jersey City, because right across, my firehouse was within a mile of Ground Zero. With people coming over the river, I don't think it really hit me at that time. Not till I went home and saw the news. And saw the faces of the New York City firefighters entering the building.
Wounds don't close. I lost friends there that day, and I always remember them.
I'm listening to the stories and I'm getting the pictures in my head, and it makes me emotional, and it makes me think they have to have some type of PTSD.
There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, regardless if it's an event as large as 9/11 or just a run-of-the-mill car accident, house fire. There's always something positive that we try to bring out of it, and that's kind of how we deal with it.
Kersey recalls reconnecting two children with their families after the chaos.
1:30, quarter to 2 in the morning, when I delivered them to the grandparents, and the smiles and the hugs and the kisses made it worthwhile.
How will you reflect on the anniversary, which is fast approaching?
It's always a trauma for me. The first one, the 20th one, it just draws me back into it. Every year I say I'm not going to watch on TV, and every year I do.
I take a little different view of it. I remember 9/12. I don't commemorate the attacks, I commemorate the response. And I've never been prouder as an American than those days.
Each firefighter you just heard from told me they personally knew a firefighter that lost their life on 9/11 or later through a related illness. Now, next month, the Tunnels to Towers Foundation will host a 5K charity walk and run to support 9/11 first responders and families of first responders. If you would like to support, go to our website, abc11.com, and look for this story. Tim Pulliam, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.